Scorpio, welcome. This is 2025, January. This is good for your sun, moon, and rising sign in Scorpio. It looks like love, fun, play, pleasure, creativity, and fertility are headed your way. Single or not single, you're going to get a bit of it. And maybe some changes going on in your life connected to chunky money, the resources you have because you sell a property or you get an inheritance. That could come for you. Some chunks of money could be coming your way. But also, you might be wanting to travel or planning a travel opportunity to go abroad. I'm just going to fix my clothes for you, Scorpio, and I'm just going to work it out with my own little self. So yes, Scorpio, I'm being my sultry self. Let's get talking about this month ahead. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a regular, welcome back. My name is Lori Lothian. I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac, whole sign houses, fixed stars, minor asteroids, all my wheelhouse. I put a lot of content out, all of it, all signs. If that's the kind of thing you like, then you might want to subscribe. And by the way, just so you know, astrology is a navigational tool to help you time your best life. This is general astrology, not your natal chart, but it's still useful. And I created a product you might be interested in. It's 2 hours of content by video. You can download it as audio with a guidebook for each sign written by me about 2025. It's each quarter, and I cover what you need to pay attention to, what the major themes are in each quarter of 2025. And there is a PDF guidebook that goes with it that I wrote just for your sign. And you get all of that content down below. My ho 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 sale, ho ho ho, Santa Claus, New Year, sale. And I use that money that I create from the sale of that product, which put a lot of love into it. That's like 2 hours times 12 for each video. I use that to buy ring lights and hire video editors and time stampers that give you the courtesy of timestamp content. So if you want to help me continue to provide great content here on YouTube for you, this fundraiser is a part of how you can do that. Thank you. Let's talk about this sky, Scorpio. I'm going to show it to you. It's going to be a story about, okay, are you getting pregnant? Are you having a new romance? Are you going to start a new business? Let's talk you. So first of all, Scorpio, let's say this. This is the month in which you experience, first and foremost, the movement of the nodes of fate into the axes of Pisces and the axes of Virgo, because the nodes of fate have been traveling, and this is where eclipses happen since 2023 July through Aries Libra. That was an area that forced you to focus on work, succeeding at work, putting a lot of energy into your work or your health or rental situations or pets. That's all gone. Goodbye. And debts and paying off debts or not, or expanding them. But that's over. Now the North Node is saying, let's conjure destined love. Let's move here, January the 11th, through your fifth house until summer of 26 and create fated destined love stories. Let's make babies here. Let's spur the baby business here. Let's make fated good fortune happen. Let's expand your romantic, muse-inspired, creative, and artistic temperament. Let's expand your children. It could be more children or more focus on one of your children, but that can happen here as well. So this North Node energy begins to be available as of January 11th, and it gives you 18 months to play with it. Now, what also is happening in the month of January is I'm going to talk about Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn and what they're doing. And then I'm going to break it down into the chronological order in which we go bit by bit through each of the things that's going to happen for you in the month ahead. So we'll start off by Mercury's movement out of the 2-month stay in your second house. A lot of conversations, a lot of money matters, a lot of negotiating, a lot of maybe failed attempts. This is like November 4th till now, to get something negotiated with property, land, and real estate. That's what he does there often. But, he had to retrograde, go forward, go back. It's just a hot mess. He's done. Maybe you had to change your speech, go back on something you said you'd do, and you might have been really busy with selling things that you own, like selling your sofa, selling your desk. Quite often, he's a merchandiser of what you possess and can sell things here, including property. But now he's moved into your third house, where he'll be for exactly a couple of weeks, more than that, January 8th to the 27th. And now he's going to focus on trips, travel, whether you take the trips or book the trips. And we're organizing a trip, traveling, journeying, a lot more active on social media. If you're a social media person, this is the social media house, and your social media activity may take up a whole nother level of your time. Writing projects will be part of your focus. Communications with friends and family who are extended, like nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles, and even siblings on your radar during January the 8th to the 27th. It's a really good time as well for any communications projects that involve writing to be a part of your focus. And you might have some good success with that because Mercury will tangle with algal, and that could be like something you put into social media land going viral during January 8th to the 27th. Now, you also have Venus spending a lot of time this year in Pisces. She starts off there January 3rd to February 3rd. This is the part of the sky that is about pregnancy, fertility, love, romance, sexuality. And you're going to have creative projects, artistic projects, and entrepreneurial projects. She's exalted. She can bring luck. You could win the lottery with Jupiter here. This could be a lottery win month, but it's mostly likely, if that's going to happen, to win the lottery, so to speak, before the 18th of January. I'll explain why later. But January 3rd, she's into this part of your sky. Even though she leaves on February 3rd, she's coming back on March the 27th to May 1st because of retrogradation. So she's not done with this romance, love, fertility. And with the North Node here after the 11th, you could say that the 11th of January through to the 18th is a conception window for a child, good for birthing a creative or artistic project or business incorporation or setting up the website or opening up a new direction in that way. This is an auspicious sky. Not after the 18th. She gets in some hot water then, but between the 11th and the 18th, there's a lot of fated destined stories. And if you're single, the 11th and 18th of January, I'd start dating. I'd go out and meet people and see what you can find. And your children may have some destined, fated, positive developments in their lives between the 11th and the 15th and the 18th. Mars has been moving through the sign of Cancer for quite a long time. Mars in the sign of Cancer started back in September, October, and then he's going to come back on January the 6th. So he ended up coming back into your workhouse back on November the 4th. And he retrograded there on December the 6th. And now he's going this way to come into the Cancer part of the sky backwards. This means that you're making some decisions like September, October, and then you had to rethink it about career connected to the 9th house. Some of you might be thinking about book publishing or changing career, going back to school and re-educating, or career opportunities and decisions to be made about careers in foreign shores and foreign places, or visas and passports in career, and back and forth with these questions. And book publishing deals in career. This is the back and forth. Mars will cross over on January 6th into Cancer and not leave your 9th house of book publishing, higher education, visas, travel, third marriages, not leave until the 13th of April. Okay, so you got 18th of April. You got a long time with Mars here, and you get a feel for it as he retrogrades through this part of your chart till February 23rd. And so don't make any major decisions around visas, passports, publishing deals, university acceptances. Maybe wait it out because he doesn't go direct till February 23rd. And some decisions and actions taken under the retrograde could misfire and have to be redirected later on. On Jupiter's transit, he's been since end of May last year through to June 9th of 25. Jupiter transits your Gemini house, and that's your chunky money. This is an inheritance transit for a lot of people a lot of the time. But if it's not that, you could get a giant chunk of money or some money from the sale of a property, from a tax rebate, from your spouse's shared monies with you. You're increasing unearned income and shared resources, royalty income, ad income on YouTube. These are chunks of money that come independent of a paycheck. And so this kind of money, shared resources, unearned income is being blessed. However, Jupiter has retrograded since October 9th. So when he goes direct on February the 4th to the 9th of June, you might see more evidence for what I'm saying. Okay. If you get a prosperity bounty coming up in January before February 4th, it's because you're expecting it, because it's connected to something from your past, something connected to the month of September. Saturn is in Pisces, March of 23 to fully leaving February of 26. Now, This is hard energy to have because this is the house of fun, play, pleasure, joy, and sexy time, And Saturn is serious and sober minded, realistic, and constrictive. So some of you might have noticed that having fun feels hard, or that your creative work and your muse is driving you like a slave driver to be disciplined and resilient and perseverant around creativity, or setting an entrepreneurial business in motion. It just felt really difficult, perhaps. Saturn can bring you new romantic love that's karmic destined, or with someone significantly younger and older than you. And he just continually hangs out here until finally permanently leaving, right? In 2026. If you get pregnant with Saturn here, it could be that you're having a child later in life. The ancients thought that later in life was anytime after the age of 26 or something. So for modern day, everyone is later in life. So if you're in your 30s and you're getting pregnant, that's simply what Saturn is, a pregnancy in an elder age. Okay. All right. Moving into the next story. We're going to talk now about the chronological order of the month ahead. Now, we're going to talk for the next 15 minutes, so get your pen handy. I'll try not to speak too quickly. We have a couple of moons, a new moon and a full moon, of course, and all the other planetary alignments. And it's mostly a positive month, if I do say so. So let's go into the order of events. Now, the first thing I want you to be aware of is that in the beginning of the month, the 1st to the 3rd, Mars is opposite Pluto as a hot mess, a conflict in the work environment compared to what's going on in the home, something you want to establish in the home, and an argument with someone in the boss, the office, whatever. So work home tension, but father figures are in the 10th house. So it means that. And you may have a blowout with a father figure of some sort in this time frame. Just keep that in mind. All right. Pluto's death and father figures, 10th house, Mars cutting could be a severing of that relationship. It could be a very significant falling out, blow up, or situation with a father figure, including a boss or anyone you look up to, like a daddy figure. Okay, big energies here. And I will include some darker sides, of course. It's always possible the sky doesn't, care about our individual preferences, that a father figure may pass during the first 4 or 5 days of January. Now, moving into the next narrative, you're going to look at the situation of the January 4th Capricorn Sun sextiling Saturn as positive. It's a beautiful, resilient energy. It's good vibes energy. Now, Capricorn is where the sun is traveling. Saturn is in the house of fertility, pregnancy, and children. And it could be some positive developments where you have a chance to travel to visit a child visits you, a sibling comes to visit you. You have a lot of fun, pleasure on a romantic getaway that really stabilizes an existing relationship. It could just be a weekend getaway even. Whatever this is, it feels good. Any creative writing projects could have to do with art, creativity, writing, and communicating are also finding a nice glow up. And it might be a very, very kind of thing where something good is happening that stabilizes this creative project energetically. It's kind of making a bit of a flow energy that can lead to luck, a lucky break in a writing project or something like that, because you've been working hard and you've been diligent, or a communications project or a social media project. These are names for the 3rd house. On January the 10th to the 14th, we have a Mars trine Neptune. Neptune, thank goodness, is over here in your 5th house of creativity and the muse, and he is direct. And this is also romantic love and sexuality. And as he moves forward in his direct motion, he gets this little bump or tap on the shoulder from Mars. Mars will at this point have moved in retrograde motion into a new part of the sky. Of course, I did lose you here, so let's bring you back. Sorry about that, you guys. My apologies. There we go. And so now you can see Mars will be moving into this part of the sky, and I'm going to try to get you back. So give me a minute. And so this flow is here. And so it's 9th house, 5th house flow. It can look like an opportunity to travel to a far off foreign shore for romantic love, for getaways, for pleasure and enjoyment. Will you travel then, or will you plan the trip? Either one can work. Either one can work. So there's a sense of enjoying travel opportunities, but also this is a house of luck, Lakshmi luck, and it's a house of spiritual truth and publishing, and some positive, dreamy actions and decisions are underway in an alchemical and magical way for you to get some kind of juice out of this house. Could be getting ready to travel to another country and planning the trip with a great sense of spiritual wonderment about the whole thing. Now, because Mars is retrograde, please go back in time to the month of October, especially the second half of October. Were you planning a travel trip, a getaway? Were you looking at a leisure trip with a beloved? Were you looking at travel to see your children or them to see you from far off foreign shores and distant lands? Any of that kind of stuff, because now it's coming back to be readdressed. And the sun will trine Uranus on the challenging, but yes, a well-star algol. So some shocking positive surprises from a solar trine in the marriage house, right? This is long-term committed love, business partnerships, and your audience and marketplace. Now, this certainly could be something like a viral hit. If you do social media, something you put into the social media sphere from your ostensible career ambitions has a massive surge of success with the audience and marketplace. Another meaning of the seventh house, and Uranus rules the internet. Otherwise, there could be some surprises that your marriage partner is bringing up, or your long-term committed love partner, that has to do with travel, or something to do with a unexpected trip opportunity with that person that is quite positive and surprising. On the 13th of the month of January, there is a full moon, and the full moon is in the sign of Cancer, and it's a completion or a fulfillment of some promise that was made in June, July on the new moon. Now, because this full moon will be conjunct Mars, there is an ending most likely. Mars brings completion. So what wants to end? It could be something to do with visas, passports, travel, foreign lands, something to do with ambitions regarding university, colleges, campuses. You may just be completing, getting ready to graduate. There's that moon. And it's with Mars, and Mars is like, what do we need to snip? What do we need to cut? Now, a moon is full here on the 13th, can show you what it wants to cut within 2 weeks, but it can also take up to 6 months for it to be completely obvious to you what is being snipped, cut, ended, or severed during the January the 13th full moon. Yes, trining Neptune, but also Saturn. So lasting results from this change of direction as well. And then we move into the idea. Oh, and by the way, you could finalize a lawsuit. Mars rules lawsuits, court and legal matters and battles might be coming to a close, or a full moon might show you that there's going to be some legal issues that you need to pay attention to, and that you have to go to battle for some legal matter, especially with Jupiter here, usually over shared resources with an inheritance or a spouse, and needing in the 6 months that follow to get your lawyer up and get your thing going on that grounds. That could be another way to code that, Scorpio, or a completion of a book publishing project, right? An ending, a cutting from your publisher, severing of some publishing project. All right, moving on. The sun is in a trine to Algol. I did that one. The January 14th to the 16th. Venus is going to be in a beautiful, well, it's a tense but still beautiful, lucky conversation with Jupiter on the 14th to the 16th. Jupiter is the chunky money, inheritances, tax rebate, shared resources, unearned income, squaring Venus. Jupiter's moving towards her. He's retrograde. They're trying to meet in the middle. The square means actions and decisions must be taken around financial good fortune, around artistic creative projects, around money you share with a romantic and long-term partner. You can win the lottery under this energy, especially with the North Node here, and Venus is still not besieged between Saturn and the North Node. Buy a lottery ticket. It doesn't hurt to try. This looks very auspicious in ways. January 14th to the 16th. But know your limit, play within it, and this is for entertainment purposes only, Scorpio. On the 15th to the 16th, the Sun and Mars are opposite each other. There's a battle going on, a battle for your soul. It could be a legal battle. It could be a travel disruption. It could be some, way that you thought something was going to go forward and it's not. And the problem with Mars up there is that if you're going to travel to a foreign land or get that visa thing to work or whatever it is, he will retrograde on February 23rd. So right now his retrograde, I need to go direct. His retrogradation only works if you're traveling to a place you've been before. New adventures may not work. So you're getting a disruptive difficult energy around travel, learning, teaching, studying energies going on in your sky, book publishing deals, etc. Splat. Okay. Conflict is here. And that is the 15th, 16th of January. Now, Venus is going to conjunct Saturn on the 18th, 19th, 20th. This is going to be positive because they also sextile Uranus, Mercury, creating a wedge. Venus and Saturn are love is hard, money is hard, right? Money endures, love endures. Money requires discipline, love requires enduring discipline, resilience, and focus. There's another word I keep wanting to use for this combination. It's forbearance. Now, this could be a bit of a challenge if you are in a romantic love relationship that isn't already stable, where, you guys have just met. Now it's going to feel like a slog, especially between the 18th, 19th, and February 1st, when Venus gets stuck between the North Node and Saturn. If it's about pregnancy and conception, it might just feel like trying to get pregnant is a chore. But with the Uranus sextile, you could be surprised pregnancies here, and maybe you have to consider what to do with the surprise of the conception in your 5th house that you weren't expecting yet, and that your significant other tells you happened. And that could be like the 18th to the February 1st, where you're considering your options, so to speak. Now, the other thing is, if you're having creative block, I wouldn't be surprised. Creativity blocks, stalling out, rock in a hard place, or some slowdown in an entrepreneurial business during this time. Not just the conjunction, I mean, but, the 18th of February 1st. Venus is flowing, not a great time to meet a new person, start the relationship with Venus besieged between two malefics. So try not to go on a first date between the 18th and February 1st. If you meet someone before that, fine. Now, what I noticed here is there's a wedge forming because Mercury is talking to Venus, and they're talking like Mercury, Venus. Well, there's a wedge between the nodes of fate. Okay, watch this. The nodes of fate and the destined fated love, destined fated money luck, destined fated creative project success. And you're going to have great creative project success for the next year and a half. So get ready for that. But this is looking like a wedge, meaning that the sun is involved, and the sun is solar divine light energy on about January 19th, 18th, 19th. So the sun is trying to fuel something positive in a writing, creative, online way, in a very beautiful way. And at the same time, we're going to see that Mercury is talking to Venus, and Venus and Mercury are having a powwow, and Mercury wants to support Venus with inner long-lasting love lasts. Getting pregnant takes hard work. My creative projects take a lot of effort, but they can be super successful because Venus is exalted. This lasts for a year. You have Venus conjuncting Saturn here once a year, every 30 years. So you had a bit of that back in 93, 94, 95. Think about pregnancy, fertility, romance, creative projects. It's back again last winter, this winter, and next winter. So 3 times every 3 years. It's a reset button. It's connected to a synodic cycle. Now, communications with a romantic partner, a romantic getaway close to home with a romantic partner. These are the themes that can come up here with this sextile between Venus and Mercury. So those are lovely energies that are starting to show up in your sky around anywhere between January 18th and the 21st. January 21st to the 22nd, 23rd is another whole department of story. So let's try to move us forward, and I'll get you back. Don't worry, I promise I will. It's just because we have something called the celestial motion. There we go. So you can see something really interesting is trying to happen in this window. It's called a mini grand trine, and we're going to talk about it as Mars is flowing. Mars is flowing to Algol/Uranus in Taurus, which is positive. The first thing we see is the wedge. Let's start with the wedge, and then we'll move to the trine. Mars opposite Mercury, a heated conversation, a tense negotiation between his opposing interests in online world, social media, writing, communicating, marketing and selling, international, foreign land, book publishing, travel, just foreign land travel, faraway travel. There's travel and learning and publishing and writing and online stuff and tension in your sky, January 22nd. Yet at the same time, there is a wedge to Algol, and the surprise is coming from your audience, your marketplace, your significant other, or your business partner, right? They're having the surprise element that radiates to disrupting a travel plan or disrupting a publishing deal or something. But all said and done, the wedge brings some resilience and reconciliation through that legal contracts, business partners, audience, marketplace, 7th house. This can be about that viral hit that I hinted at earlier and another development with it, secondary development. Now, also, during this window of time, Pluto will be in a conjunction to the sun. This is going to happen once a year to the next 20 years. So get ready, get used to it. But sun, death and rebirth. Pluto, death and rebirth, sun, father, father figure. It's that simple. It is pretty well a feral or solitary event. There's not much else going on around it. So you could, but there is a connection in a broad way to the chunky money. So a father figure passes and gives you some chunky money, or you sell a house and get some chunky money, or you put your house on the market because you know you're going to get some chunky money on February 4th onward when Jupiter goes direct. On January the 25th, there is a trine that's full of grace and goodness. A mini trine is forming, a mini grand trine, January 25th to the 27th. And that is nothing but super sweet energy. So get ready for that to really feel good. And I'm going to go back to your sign. My apologies again. See if I can hold Scorpio there. So here we have this mini trine forming. You can see it, right there. Again, this is the off with their heads, Medusa's head decapitation, algal whale star on Uranus, but it's not bad because it's all flowing. No one's losing their head. Surprises are coming that are unexpected and exhilarating from your marriage house, from your business partnership, from your audience and marketplace. This is connecting the dots between Venus, the goddess of the creativity, the arts and the fertility, and Mars in the 9th house of foreign lands and travel, Dharma and grandchildren. The sudden surprising announcement that you're going to have a grandchild, the sudden surprising announcement that you're going to be a parent, or suddenly surprising announcement that you've got a book publishing deal, that sudden surprising announcement that your lottery ticket is the winner, sudden surprising announcements. Okay. But the announcements are coming off the surprises from the other person or the outside people around you. So look for information, news, and excitement over here. Boom, boom, boom. It should be pretty darn cool, if I do say so myself. And then it's positive. I love it. I really love it. And then we're going to move into the next story. On January 28th, Sun will trine Jupiter. This is about luck and prosperity and joy and bounty and goodness. There's nothing about it I don't like. Now you can see Mercury's gotten snuggled up to Pluto and that sun. That's good for buying and selling real estate and property. Also maybe negotiations and deals around chunky money, inheritances, royalty income, book publishing deals, anything like that. But anyway, let's get back to the trine between Jupiter retrograde and the sun. So this is like, do you have an offer on your house? Are you listing it? Are you going to get a refi on the mortgage? Are you going to get some kind of chunky money from an inheritance? I don't know, that kind of thing. Now that Mercury's in the mix, that's the emails, phone calls, text messages, negotiations, and deal making and news, right? So January 28th to 31st, this thing is happening. On the 31st, Venus conjoins Neptune, and that's also dreamy soulmate love, a romantic getaway that makes you smile. Like a great romantic getaway would be perfect under that light, going off and doing something romantic with a romantic partner that brings a sense of deep spiritual union and connection. If you're single, great to date. You might meet your soulmate under this light of this conjunction on the 31st. You'll feel it the 30th, 31st, and into February 1st. So go for that romantic date. Time to take a chance for singletons. Now, finally, there's a new moon in the sign of Aquarius. New moons are new beginnings and a fresh start, planting a seed that can take 6 months to unfold. It's going to happen in Aquarius at 9 degrees, right where that sun is. And this is a new moon that has Mercury embedded in it. Communications, phone calls, emails, marketing, merchandising, and selling, and new beginnings, homeland, property, and real estate. You will buy a property or sell a property in the next 6 months, probably. And Pluto is wealth. You have the riches to do it. I know it sounds like not all Scorpios will have this, but you could have some new beginnings on communications projects you're doing from home that can create great riches, bounty, and wealth. More ad income, more royalty income, more residual income, more what do you call it? Like an advance on your book or your novel, or someone wants to buy your screenplay and gives you an advance, something like that. So these kinds of monies from things you do that revolve around creativity, writing and communicating in the home can bring you chunky money in the 6 months that follow. Look to the 2 weeks that follow this new moon of January 29th, because in the 2 weeks that follow, you'll know what it's about. You might have a clue, but it's a trine to Jupiter that tells us it's a positive new moon. I cannot wait to do my deep dive video on this. This is one of the best new moons of 2025, and it's affecting your finances as well as property, home, and real estate, legacy wealth as well, in a very positive way. Thank you for listening to this recording. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to check in with me, only for you, can I not get my shoulders aligned? If you want to check my description box below, my Zoom community has 3 meetings a month, early access, ad-free for everything you see on YouTube. They get it without the ads. They get it before you. That's just for $5 a month, the cheapest tier. Check out my, what do you call it? Substack Pluto Chronicles. I'm writing about everything Pluto does in Aquarius, and that's exciting over the next 20 years. Also, check out my Cosmic Moonshine Weekly Forecast newsletter. I have contests, perks, discount codes available only for subscribers. And if you want to have a reading with me, you need to be on some other platform besides YouTube. You need to be on like my Patreon community or in my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter, because when I open up the very few spots I will be having available next year, and I'll open them in chunks every 3 months, they sell out in like half an hour. So the only way you're going to know that the spots are open the day they open is because you're connected to me somewhere else besides YouTube. Have a wonderful, wonderful January, Scorpios. I'm looking forward to hearing how many of you got pregnant or grand pregnant. Bye-bye.